What gets measured gets managed. Your frequency is what you frequently see. I don't know. Do I have goals for the year? What were my goals for the year? Be the type of person who checks in on people you care about, who reaches out, who touches base. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Lead More Podcast. I'm your host, John T. Meyer. Welcome to the show where we help inspire and nudge people to become the next generation of leaders. You maybe already are a leader. You maybe want to be a leader. You've probably tested being a leader and just maybe haven't had the full opportunity yet. And this is a show where we help nudge you forward or inspire you by learning from other great leaders. You can hear from me. And I just think the world needs more leaders. And so we need you to be one. So on this episode, we're in it. It's January and it is, my watch says 5 degrees. So I know I'm inside. But I got my tea, got my vest, I got my hat on. It's just chilly. It's like bone chilly in South Dakota here today. And so we're recording a special mailbag episode of the Lead More Podcast. So that's where I take questions from you guys on social media, comments from like Spotify comments. And then I also try to take a couple questions that I get from my coaching and bring those forward. Just really good questions that might be relevant to all leaders. So today, we have 4 great questions to tackle on the mailbag episode, so let's get right to it. All right, number 1. Somebody asked me on social media, is your routine different on the weekends than it is compared to the weekdays? Is your routine different on the weekends compared to the weekdays? The answer, yes and no. So one thing I did and really set out to in 2024, my word of the year was daily, and it was all about the consistent daily habits. You've heard me talk about this. And so I did this thing called my 5 daily non-negotiables. Let me walk through that real quickly. 1 stands for 10 pages or 10 minutes of a book every day, a nonfiction book. So I'll listen, read by my nightstand, just get 10 pages, new ideas, new thoughts. 2 stands for 2 times a day, look at my goals. So at 8 a.m. and at 5 p.m., I have an automated Slack message that pushes me my goals for the year. What gets measured gets managed. Your frequency is what you frequently see. So you got to see the things that matter to you, right? It's why you get to April, May, and you're like, I don't know, do I have goals for the year? What were my goals for the year? I hadn't really thought about it. And you did have goals for the year. You just forgot or they faded away. And so you got to look at these things often. So 2 times a day, see them if they're important. Number 3 stands for 30, and that's 30 minutes of exercise. That was my big challenge for the year. My Misogi for last year was to work out every single day for at least 30 minutes. No metrics beyond that. But what I found is when I exercise, go for a walk, lift weights, run, whatever it is, I'm a better husband, better dad, and better at business, more clear mind, right? So it's so important. It wasn't even really a health goal. I mean, there's a health benefit, absolutely, to exercising every day, but just a personality, a positivity, even a professional goal was exercising. 4 stands for 4 post on content, 4 daily posts. And that could be stories. I usually try to post once on Instagram, once on LinkedIn. Then I'll do some stories intermittently, but just try to post content every day. That's the marketing of how I grow a coaching business. And number 5 is reach out to 5 people every day. Those 2 really fit. If post content is marketing, reaching out to people is like sales. And what's beautiful is when people react to your content, you can then open a chat or a direct message and start a conversation, which becomes reach outs. But even on the weekends, I try to like text people that I care about, right? I'm traveling. Hey, I was in your town, thought of you. Hey, I read this article, made me think of you. Listen to this podcast, send them the link. Just be the type of person who checks in on people you care about, who reaches out, who touches base. And so reach out to everybody. That definitely matters as an entrepreneur. But even if you're inside a large organization, you can be the type of person who reaches out, checks in on people. So that was my 5 daily non-negotiable. This is becoming a long answer, but so that was the routine on every weekday for sure and weekends. But how it's different, I would say, is the way I'm sort of what I'm optimizing for. Monday through Friday, I'm really optimizing for, at least from 8 to 5, building my business. And on the weekends, I really reorient and optimize strictly for being a dad, being a husband, going to swimming practice where Going to the coffee shop, having brunch, whatever it might be, doing some chores, doing yard work, going to the grocery store, cooking dinner. So yes, I still do the things, still exercise, but when it happens, say Monday through Friday, that routine is a little bit more strict. Saturday, Sunday, it looks differently. Might be a midday run on a Saturday, or it's either a morning run or a 4 o'clock run on a Tuesday, right? So yes and no, routine shifts a little bit. Question number 2, what is your tech stack when it comes to fitness? So of course they're asking like, what are the apps that I use? And I have a few. So Strava is my number one go-to app. I love that. So it tracks all my runs, tracks my lifts, hikes if you do that. So it's on my watch. I just click it, tracks the runs, get time, distance, all that. Secondly, I use an app called Trainerize. That's for like lifting, for working workouts with weights at the gym. So that tells me like what I'm supposed to do, the form. Obviously, technique is so important when it comes to things like that. How many I can track my reps and the weight. Trying to do progressive overload where you're continuing to up the amount of weight or push beyond the amount of reps, keep going bigger and bigger and better. Peloton is my basement bike. That's when it's like today, too cold to run, or it's 10:30 and I haven't got my workout in yet. I'm going to the basement. I'm knocking out 30 minutes on the bike. It's the Peloton app. And then number 4 is simply my watch. Apple Watch is like my steps, reminding me to stand up and not sit all damn day. Heart rate, all those type of things. And that connects to Apple Health. Don't really use anything there, but I know there's a lot that happens in there. 2 things that I'm testing, started to do a little bit in 2024 and want to make consistent in 2025, is I using an app called Levels. Levels is like a continuous glucose monitor you put on your body for about 3 weeks. And it tracks your food. Like it sees how your metabolism reacts to the various foods you eat. Does your blood pressure, does your glucose spike? Does it drop when you need to get up and go for a walk? Just dipping my toe into that, but really excited to see what I learned from that data. I'm not actually like a big, huge data nerd, but when I'm such a visual person. When I see it, it helps me respond. And it motivates me, right? Closing those damn rings on my watch motivates me. Deciding to not eat that food because the last time I saw it just spike, that motivates me. So that's how I'm trying to think and use Levels. The other thing I'm adding, I just purchased I think it's called Withings, terrible brand, but it's a smart scale, right? So not really worried about the number on the scale in terms of weight, but it does like body composition. It tracks a few more. It's just a smart scale. And what's really cool is it pushes that data directly into your app or to your Apple Health. So what I care more about is how does my weight look compared to 90 days ago, because I started doing more cardio, or I started lifting weights, or, what is body fat percentage? How does that change? That's, again, data. What gets measured gets managed. And so the smart scale makes me kind of create comparisons versus just think, I think I weighed roughly that last year. Well, now I want to see it. So those are 2 additions to my tech fitness stack in 2025. Question number 3, how do you decide what books to read? It's a great question. I think I read 16 or 17 books last year. I just keep a simple note of the books that I read. I don't have a big book goal. I used to be like 3 books a month and really tracked it. Now my goal is really just to read what inspires me, read what feels right in this time of my life, whether it be a business goal I'm working on, a personal goal, a recommendation from a good friend. I would say my recommendations for books books in terms of book strategy is read multiple things at once. So I always have like an audio book in my Audible. So on a run, a plane ride, something like that. I have a nightstand book. Typically I recommend lighter reading, maybe fiction for the nightstand when you're trying to like fall asleep or turn your brain off. Like you shouldn't be winding your brain up before bed, should be the opposite. So that's that nightstand book. And then I usually try to also have like both a physical and like a Kindle. Like I like my Kindle reader for quick packing and taking on a trip or the airplane. But I like the physical book, especially when I'm around my kids, right? Like if I'm, we're trying to get them to do more reading, I sit down and I read, and Kindle or an auto. It just feels like it's technology. It's a barrier. Whereas just reading a book, earmark the pages, close it up, you come back when you need it. So don't be afraid to read multiple things at once. And also don't be afraid to quit books. I hear from people so many times like, oh, I really want to read that book, but I got to finish this other book. I just can't get it done. Quit it. It's okay. You don't have to finish every book. And let's be honest, a lot of business books especially, very repetitive. At about 40 to 50% of that book, you get the concept. If it's drawing you in and you're liking it, keep going. But if you're like, I get it, I got it, move on. That's how I feel about books. So like right now, I think I'm reading 4 books right now to start out the year, and we'll see how many I end up finishing for 2025. Question number 4. I referenced this earlier, but somebody asked me on Instagram, what's your Misogi for 2025? Now, if you're not familiar with this concept, I first learned about it from Jesse Itzler online. It's a Japanese word, and sort of loose translation, or probably a little bit of paraphrasing it, is essentially to put an event on your calendar that really defines your year. It really is a build up to that event. And that thing might be a day, a weekend, or it could even be longer, but it's your big kind of hairy goal that when you think about 2019 or you think about 2022, it really defines your year as your goal. I've started doing this. I think my first Misogi was in 2021, and I learned it from Jesse. And so it was to do 29029, which is hiking the equivalent of Mount Everest. It's an event I did out in Utah. Then in 2022, right after I sold my company, I did 75 hard. That was my big goal, both routine and fitness and discipline. In 2023, my Misogi was to run the 437 Project, a relay race to raise money and awareness for mental health and suicide prevention across South Dakota, the entire state. So 12 of us did that together. And then last year, 2024, was to exercise every day, 366 days, regardless of my mood, the weather, travel, my schedule, my health, every single day. So in 2025, you can see I like physical challenges as Misogis. They're good, something that I can control. I don't have to rely on other people, right? Or other external factors. This is my first year I'm not choosing a physical Misogi. So my Misogi for 2025 is to write a book. I'm going to write a book this year. I can't even really tell you what it's about yet, not because it's secret, because I'm still just it's very much in this early ideation phase. I have like a loose title. I have some themes, but I haven't even written an outline yet. My goal for January is to start on an outline, and then I got to build the habit of writing, really knocking that out and structuring that. Don't exactly know the final shape it'll take. Published versus self-published versus who knows. It may not even come out this year, but it's going to be written this year. That's the goal. That's the Misogi. One fun fact, people ask often a lot about AI. We talk about AI. So one way I'm using AI in 2025, but also related to my Misogi of writing a book, is this new hardware tool. It's called Crush. It's a voice note taker, just like a dictator thing, like dictation. You turn it on and you can record your voice, and this will then push this note to the cloud, transcribe it immediately, and then also you can interact with it from an AI chat. So you could ask it to ask questions about the recording that you did, or you can just copy paste it, move it into Google Docs. So my hope is morning walks with the dog, evening little sauna sessions, get my ideas out of my head into Google Doc paper. It's not really a thing, Google Doc paper, but get them into digital and then get in there and being able to type, edit, write, and start to build the book. So that's Crush. If you want to check that out, cool product. It might help you if you're a verbal processor like I am. So Misogi for 2025, write a book. All right, friends, that is the mailbag episode. Those are 4 questions we want to take related to habits, related to fitness, related to challenges and goals. That's definitely still the mindset I'm in here in early January. And again, if you're looking at your goals, should be the mindset you have for the entire year. Don't leave them behind. Don't let them go. Don't drop. If they matter, make sure that they matter. Look at them and drive toward them. So I am super excited for 2025. I hope you are as well. If you want to ask questions for future mailbag episode, just comment on the bottom of this YouTube video. I can answer it now, and we can put them in future episodes as well. Or you can go to follow me on Instagram John T. Meyer, and you can DM me there. That's a great place to take questions as well. If you want more tips and advice on how to unlock your momentum, how to grow your business, build a great company and not a busy job, click subscribe below here on our YouTube or follow us wherever you listen to podcasts. We'll see you next time. Take care and be well.